the Sabine thing. I know people are going to ask about this. The Sabine thing. Personally, while I understand that George said anyone can use the Force, it depends, how much you train for. It depends on your, of course, talent, your ability to become a Jedi or a Sith, or even use the Force to a certain extent. Is really dependent on the person and their midichlorians. I didn't like the fact that Sabine can now use the Force to that extent. It just really, for me, like undermines the fact that someone can just train for maybe like a month and they can all of a sudden, like pull a lightsaber to them. I just don't think that that's really... And now she can push Ezra. I'm just not a huge fan of that. I think it's like Rey didn't have any training, right? Sure, she's a granddaughter of Palpatine, but at least, there you have Anakin Skywalker, who's the chosen one, who has the more midichlorians than Palpatine, than Rey, than anybody. And he had to train his butt off, right? Same with Ahsoka, same with everybody else. Mace Windu. It just seems like there's some inconsistencies almost. I feel like there's maybe a separation between, some of the storytelling, depending on who's telling the story. So I wasn't really a big fan of Sabine using the Force there in that situation. I think what would have been better is if Ezra pushed it to her, and maybe we saw it like chatter a little bit on the ground from her powers, and then he pulled it, or he pushed it to her. As for her pushing him, I would have much rather seen her jump and then him push her. But then she would be the one that's off in the other galaxy, right? So it's kind of, I guess, not what Dave wanted. Definitely, I saw it going so different. I saw it really, really going differently. I saw it going, Ahsoka would fight Elsbeth, but then the Great Mothers would create some sort of an entity to help. I enjoyed the Luke moment with the Force pull of the lightsaber, but that Force push was too much and took me out of that scene almost instantly. It did. I did not favor that scene one bit. I feel like it was just... No, I didn't like it. It doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't, like, the whole special thing about the Jedi is that only the Jedi can do this. Not just someone who's, like, first of all, had no Force ability. There's just one scene in Rebels where Ahsoka is walking with Zeb. Where are they? They're Lothal, I think. And she says, you guys hear that voice? And they're like, what are you talking about? Sabine as House Vizsla could potentially have increased midichlorians, but because she's Mandalorian, it went undetected. Mind was closed to the Force. Yeah, so when in Rebels, her dad took her to the statue of Vizsla, of Tar Vizsla. Maybe. You might be right. Potentially, she has some midichlorian power. Sabine using the Force haters. She thought about it for years, trained all season, and in the moment her life was on the line, the Force came to her as much as she came to it. Not a Mary Sue. I still don't like it. Do you guys like it? Do you guys like Sabine using the Force like that? To that extent? I think, maybe a little rattling of the saber hilt would have been cool. I think anything more than that would just be too much. Especially the Force push. Man. I don't know.